Good evening, everyone. Is my voice audible? Is my voice audible? Okay, so good evening, everyone. We are going to start in 2 minutes. Let's wait for the others to join. And if they're not joining in 2 minutes, then we're going to start with the class. Fine? Is it clear? We are going to start in 2 minutes. Yeah, good evening, Kiran. How are you? So we were doing this chapter from communication. We are going to continue with this. Uh, okay, and we have to start from here. That is 5.6. Yeah, so we're going to wait for 2 minutes. Let others join the class and then we're going to get started. Okay. Now, so I hope you people are able to hear, see the board properly. I hope you are able to view the board properly, right? Is it visible to you? Okay. So grammar models. See, when it comes to communication, if you are not using the correct grammar, it won't be that effective, right? Good evening, Mohammed. So the modal verbs are a special group of auxiliary verbs. We use them before other verbs to express certain meanings. For example, permission, ability, possibility, and certainty. For example, can I come in? If I have to enter my boss's room, how do we take permission? By using modals. Like, can I come in? Right? For making polite requests, we use could, right? Could you please come to my cabin, right? And would you mind doing my work for today? That is like how we use this modal for making a polite request. And expressing the future, we can use this modal we will to express the future, like, will you be there tomorrow? Suggestion. Shall I comment? Okay. Yeah, good evening. Should, advise, may. So all these modals are used, to before a verb. Okay, modal verbs are actually, they are also verbs, but they are used before the verb to express certain meanings. Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear, everyone? Now, let's do this exercise. May, like the first one is done for you. May, should, must, not, I help you. May I help you? Like, may is the modal verb. And I help you before. Okay. So now you have to solve this. You have to choose the options that you have to choose the correct one out of the three listed here. Okay. For example, for this first one, yeah, I have started few minutes back. This chapter, like we started in the last class only, right? If you remember. Now, if you travel to UK, you dash have a visa. What is the answer? You can have a visa, you should have a visa, you must have a visa. Must, right? Now do the other ones as well, and then I'm going to reveal the answers. Is it clear? Kelvin, Fadi, Kiran, Mohammed, Abdul, Naeem. And don't put the answers like this. It should be like one, something of this kind. Put the question number first, followed by the answer. Just put the answers in the chat box itself. Yeah. Okay. Just solve these 8 questions and then I'm going to put the answers on the board. For the same. For the first one, the answer is you must have a visa. Yeah. Okay. Now let me put the answers. These are the answers. And okay, it should be like this. See, these are the answers. The first one should be must. The second one is should not. The third one is must not. The fourth is should. The fifth is need not. The sixth is have to. Okay. The seventh is must and must not is 8. So how many of you got all of them correct? What was your score? What is your score out of 8? Please write your scores in the chat box. Madhi has got 6 out of 8. How about others? Not bad. Good. Kiran, Mohammed, Abdul, Naeem. Yeah, good. It's okay. It's okay. Anyways. Okay. Now, check your progress 7. Imagine that your director has asked you to find out the precautions and preparations needed to arrange for the disaster management provisions in your company. These are the notes you have made. Okay. Draft a report to your director by expanding notes into paragraphs. Okay. So notes are given and you have to expand them into paragraphs. What your director has asked, he has asked you to find the precautions and preparations needed for disaster management. Okay, in the company. Okay, so if there is a disaster like natural disaster, what your company is going to do, what precautions your company is going to do, and what preparations they have. Identified danger, fire particularly in areas where a lot of paper is stored. So you have already made like notes. Now you have to convert them into report. Earthquake, cracks due to previous earthquake, lightning, inadequate safety measures. Proposals, firefighting equipment to be maintained regularly, because if there is a fire and if it is in good condition, you can combat with the fire, you can fight with the fire. Firefighting training to the support staff. Display of safety regulations in the area. Hooters to be installed, that is, these are the precautions should be there. Suppose there is a fire or there is an earthquake, that hooten should be there, and once it will be there, it is going to ring, everybody will get to know that okay, there is an earthquake, we should run out of the building. Exit outlet to be highlighted, so that if there is an emergency, one can exit from there. Fine. An important telephone number should also be there. So how you are going to write the report? Okay. Begin your report as follows. To Mr. Sunil Sen, Director, from date. Before you write your report, we would like to offer a few suggestions how to write a report. Okay. So before writing a report, we make actually notes, right? This is a rough kind of a report. All the information we want to put in the report, we put it in the form of a note. right? And then we arrange it in the form of a report, right? Right, everyone? Before you begin writing a report, you must ask yourself a number of questions. What is the purpose of the report? What problem or problems are you expected to solve? Is it to pass on the information or persuade someone to take a particular course of action? Or to answer a question, who are your readers? When is the report due? Okay. After you have the clear idea of kind of problem that you are expected to investigate, you may begin the actual work of research and collection. See, when it comes to a report writing, I have already explained it to you in my previous class that like when before writing a report, you have to collect information, right? You have to do a lot of research, and wherever you are collecting the facts, you have to do it on your own so that you can get the correct information. Moreover, you have to verify it before presenting it in the report. Okay, is it clear? It may be a good idea to write down your statement of purpose. It will help you to precise and remind you of your focus. The procedure leading to the writing of the report would involve 6 distinct stages. First of all, you have to investigate, then you have to take notes, interpreting and analyzing the facts, writing the outline of the report, writing the actual report, and once you are done with the actual report, you have to revise it to see if there are any errors before submitting it finally. Okay, and as far as the format of report is considered, it should have introduction, body, conclusion, and recommendations. Recommendations means you suggest something for a problem. You have researched for a problem. Okay, why is report generally written? You research for a problem and then you put the problem after researching, after collecting your data, you put it in the report and then you provide solution for the same, recommend something for the same, right? Fine. The introduction should state the subject and purpose of the report. So it should be well maintained. It should be. Is my voice okay? See, you have to clearly mention in the introduction part the purpose of the report. It may include any background information that is necessary for the reader to follow the report. The introduction is often a good place to refer briefly to any conclusions that may be drawn. In the body of the report, the writer must clearly include a clearly organized account of the subject of the report, the results of the survey he might have carried out. And the conclusion should contain a summary of the findings and their significance. Finally, in the recommendations means you are suggesting something to sort out the problem for which you might have made the research and for which you have filed the report. The recommendations indicate any practical course of action that may be taken. These are often the most important part of the report, and their adoption or rejection depends on how they are presented. Clear? So did you understand why the report is being written? What is the purpose of it? You need to research on a particular thing. You should know on what thing you have to research. What is the purpose of writing the report? Because if you know for what purpose you are writing that report, you can research well. And you have to collect the facts on your own. At the time of collecting facts, you don't have to be prejudiced, right? And recommendations, recommendations should be given, practical recommendations should be given. Okay? Is it clear? Now, okay, now you have to write the report, the rough, and before submitting a final report, just draft the, just put all the information at one place, whatever you need to present, and then organize it accordingly. And once you are done with the final report, recheck it to ensure that it is correct. Fine. Now you have to write the report using, like the data which is presented here. Okay. Is it clear? Someone has already researched on it. Okay. And they have identified these dangers as far as this thing is considered. Disaster management in an organization, provisions in your company. So before you suggest measures to control, if there is some disaster, how the company is going to control that, what all measures it is going to adopt, what all safety measures it is going to have, before they throw focus on that, okay, they need to identify the dangers. They bring into limelight, they need someone who is collecting information. He or she need to bring into limelight the dangers which the company might encounter, right? So he or she has written the identified dangers, because unless and until you will put into limelight the danger, how you're going to suggest measures for the same to control it, how company is going to control it, suggestions, how you're going to give suggestions. And these are the proposals. These should be done, okay, as per the writer, to control, to combat with the natural disaster. Obviously you cannot stop it, but yeah, this is how the company can save more and more people if something of that kind happens. Fine. Is it clear? Now please write the report. The notes are already here. Is it clear? Fadi, Kiran, Mohammed, Abdul, Naeem, Kelvin. Yeah, just write it down in the chat box. Darshana? See, you have to write a report. Facts are mentioned here. The information has been collected. Now you have to write the report. Fine, Darshana? Okay, Sadeem? Okay. Just finish this fast, please. Just finish this in 3 minutes, everyone out there. I'm just waiting so that we can proceed ahead. 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, I'm going to slow it down and we are going to cover the next topic. So try to finish this in 3 minutes, please. Okay, let's proceed ahead. Now, pronunciation. See, if I don't pronounce some words correctly, will you be able to decode what I'm saying? There are some of the words which occur in the unit. Listen how these words are pronounced. Now practice saying the word. Product, research, account, dispatch, problem, purchase. So these are the words. Now we are done with this chapter. Let me read the summary. Okay. In our professional life, we often have to work in teams, right? Perhaps take up the leaderships of the team. Okay. In this unit, we try to give you linguistic competence in managing various levels of the organization, participating as a team member as well as a leader. Now, we are done with this unit. Okay. Now, let's go to the next part, that is meeting. Okay. And this is how you can write the letter. To Mrs. Sunil Sen, Director, from your name, then date. After the survey, it was found that we need protection from 3 possible dangers, that is fire, earthquake and lightning. The warehouse is the most sensitive area because of the large amount of paper stored and inadequate safety measures. The cracks of the last earthquakes have widened, okay, and the trees around the factory have been burned by lightning. As we are placed in this area which is prone to the above mentioned dangers, the following precautions and improvements are necessary to avert major disasters. Firefighting equipment should be maintained regularly and the staff should be trained to handle them. Because if you have the fire fighting equipment, but if the staff is not trained to handle it well, what is going to happen? They won't be able to use it. And they have to be continuously trained. Otherwise, they may tend to forget. Safety regulations should be displayed at various places. At the time of any disaster, hooters should be sounded to signal warning, and exit outlets to be highlighted for safe evacuation of the people. Important telephone numbers such as those of hospitals, fire brigade, doctors, company officials should be displayed at various places. Last but not the least, an action committee should be formed and trained to handle the situation calmly. Fine. XYZ manager. Is it clear? Shall we move ahead to the next chapter? Meeting. Unit 6. So these steps we are going to do. Now, objectives. Conducting or participating in meetings is an important business skill. In this unit, you will learn about formal and informal meetings, about the process of business meetings, about the role of chairperson and participants, how to express your ideas and views in a meeting, how to make suggestions, how to express agreement and disagreement, how to write agendas and follow memos to practice the language of meeting. Now, warm up. Have a look at these pictures which suggest two kinds of meeting. What do you think are the major differences between the two kinds of meetings? Write down at least 3 possible differences. So, see in this picture, in these two pictures, you can cite out some differences on the basis of type of meetings they are having. So, what are the 3 differences? Can you please write it down? So what is the first difference? In the first one, you can just find 2 people. It's one-to-one, and in the second one, it's a group meeting. What is the next thing? How about this? You have to cite out 3 differences. What are the 3 differences? Yes. In the first one, they are just greeting, but in the second one, they are involved in a brainstorming session for sure. Now, match your points and the differences in the 2 kinds of meetings with the one given below. Group meetings are generally more formal than one-to-one meetings, right? Group meetings are more structured and planned and generally last longer, right? They involve a large number of people and must be chaired by someone. In a group meeting, see, large number of people will be there. It should be chaired by someone so that the decorum and the law and order can be maintained. That is the reason why it is being chaired by someone. They also allow the procedure of agenda and minutes, which may not be the case with one-to-one meeting. In a group meeting, they, in order to stay on time, agenda and minutes is defined freehand, and it is being sent to every participant through email or through written, okay, in the form of a letter, okay, but generally through email, because if in a group meeting you'll find a lot of people. They just want to stay on track. In order to stay on track, agenda and minutes are defined freehand so that everyone can come prepared and no time is being wasted and everyone can stay on time. Fine? I have already told you this. However, one-to-one meetings are not chance conversations but the meetings with a purpose, where certain objectives need to be achieved. Here are some kinds of planning also needs to be done for such meetings to ensure the desired outcome. Clear? The language of group meetings is also formal than those of one-to-one meetings. Is this much clear to everyone? What is the difference between one-to-one meeting and group meeting? And you must be understanding this point. I have already explained it to you. I have taught you this thing, right? What is agenda? What are minutes? Now, the passage that follows tells you how to have meetings that are both effective and fruitful. How can you make meeting work for you? Meetings are central to most organizations. Why meetings are being held at an organization? Because, one person cannot take the decision. Once it is being discussed, they can see, all the sides of the coin, which one person might not be able to assess. And then, it also gives this, meetings, as far as meetings are considered, first of all, you can see a problem is being discussed. Discussion is there, and the more you discuss, the more thoroughly you can know something. Moreover, once you start involving all the employees or all the people of the group, they get the sense of being, being important, right? And this evokes positivity in them, this evokes confidence in them, right? that okay, they take me as a part of the group, so I should do something for the welfare of the group. This is like evoking confidence and help. And once we are involved in something personally, obviously we can understand it better. From if we are involved in something from stage 1, obviously we can understand it better. Fine. Kiran, Mohammed, Abdul, Naeem and Darshana, Kelvin, Fadi. Is it clear? Okay. Conducting a meeting. Call a meeting only when it is essential and be clear about the purpose. Meetings called on routine basis tend to lose their point. If you are sure you need to call a meeting, circulate a memo, right? See, you just cannot call people like that. You just cannot call them and say that tomorrow is a meeting. You need to have a written, memo, and it has to be, is my voice okay? Is my voice okay? Okay, fine. Thank you. Sorry, it got disconnected in between. I'm sorry about it. See, as far as meetings are considered, once it has been decided that meeting has to be held, they send a memo, they circulate a memo actually. Okay? Because when it comes to a business world, when it comes to offices, they need to have the written proof of everything. And in the memo itself, it will be, the time will be specified, objectives will be specified, place will be specified, issues that will be discussed in the meeting that will be specified, and how you need to prepare at your end will be specified. Meeting should be short, not more than an hour, because otherwise no one can sit for more than an hour, right? 6 is the optimum number of participants for the good working meeting. Larger meetings can be productive as brainstorming sessions for ideas, provided participants can speak freely without feeling they will be judged. Okay, so whenever there is a meeting, everyone should get a chance. If you really want to reach to a solution for a particular problem, everyone should get a chance to speak, and whoever is being asked to come for the meeting, and they should not be judged. Fine? Because once they'll get to know that they'll be judged, nobody is going to open their mouth, right? Okay. A successful meeting always leads to action. See, you may come to various conclusions at a meeting, but if you don't discuss it, if you don't take it into action, if you don't convert it into action, what is the use of holding a meeting, right? Yeah. Decision should take up the bulk of the minutes of the meeting. Include the name of the person delegated to each task and deadline for its completion. Make sure you circulate the minutes after the meeting and then again before the next one. You understand what minutes are, right? What is being discussed in the meeting is the minute. It should be circulated to everyone so that they have the written copy of it and they can refer to it whenever it is being needed. Draw out quieter members of the group. Encouragement helps to create a relaxed and productive atmosphere. Is this much clear? Attending the meeting. Even if the meeting is informal, it is always advisable to prepare a few key points in notes form to put across or discuss. Don't memorize notes or read them out like a sermon. Don't read it. There should be some feeling behind it. This inhibits your natural gestures. And at the time of the meeting or GD, I told you earlier, your body language should be good. That means it should be appropriate and you should make proper eye contact for effective communication. If you cannot answer a question, don't be afraid to say that you don't know it, rather than pretending that I know it but I cannot recall. This won't help. And don't complain in a meeting, rather try to provide solution. Don't criticize anyone. Because if you raise fingers on someone, one finger on someone, obviously 4 fingers are being pointed out towards you. So don't do that. Is my voice okay? Is my voice okay? See, you have to solve these questions based on the passage. Okay? Yeah, please answer these 3 questions. Okay, once you're done with these 3 questions, just let me know. I'm going to scroll in. Yeah. And once you're done with these three questions, you have to do this fourth and fifth question. Okay? Okay. Just answer question number fourth and fifth. Yeah. Now, once you are done, okay, so is everyone done with all the 5 questions? Okay, okay. Now, if you are done with all the questions, now you have to do this. See, some words are mentioned here. You have to fill in the, you have to fill in the blanks with the appropriate word. Yes, sure. I'm reading the answers. I'm reading the answers, and I'm going to, like put the answers on the board once you're done with this exercise as well. Okay, fine. Just finish this, and then I'm going to put the answers on the board. Okay, let me put the answers on the board now. Yeah, fine. Let me put the answers here on the board. See. Just a second. Why are meetings necessary? Meetings provide you with a platform where you can share your views and ideas with other people in the department, company, and take decisions based on these shared ideas and opinions. Hence, they are necessary tool for communication and decision making. Okay? What should you do when you decide that the meeting is necessary? Once you decide to call a meeting, you must circulate a memo to all those who are expected to be present for the meeting in advance. Okay, the memo must state the time, place, and venue of the meeting. It must also have information on the issues to be discussed. What will be expected by the way of participation from those who are attending to attend the meeting, as well as which members have been called for the meeting. Fine. And 5 things that should be taken care of by the person who chairs the meeting. So he or she should call the meeting only when it is necessary. The objectives for the meeting should be clear. The memo should be circulated beforehand, and it should not be called if there are, don't call more than 6 people unless necessary. Keep the meeting short. The duration should not be more than an hour. Otherwise, people start losing interest. ensure that decisions are taken, circulate minutes of the meeting, encourage all members to participate, and especially the quieter ones. Okay, they might have something good at the back side of their mind. Out of hesitation, they might not be speaking. Fine. What should be done once a decision is taken? Once the chairperson of the meeting has taken a decision, he or she should assign responsibilities to the members and then set deadlines for the completion of the assigned work. Now, prepare a few key points before the meeting and take them along to the meeting. Don't memorize information, speak naturally. And don't be afraid to admit that you don't know something if you really don't know. Right? Be positive in your criticism, offer solutions. You are not there to criticize or do leg pulling. You are there to offer solutions to do that. Fine? Is this much clear? Clear? Now, just solve the filling the blanks, and then I'm going to disclose the answer for the filling the blanks, and then we are going to wrap up with the class. We are going to continue with the same chapter on Monday as well. Fine? So just try to solve, all the filling the blanks. If you haven't solved it yet, just try to complete that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, so do you have any questions for me? Anyone out there? These are the answers for the, for the filling the blanks. Any questions for me? Anyone out there before we wrap up with the class? Okay. See, I have already, like emailed you the chapter. So you need to study it from book and as well as these. Okay? Yeah. Kiran, you were asking something? That means decision. See, like the course is the same, okay? I have already forwarded you this chapter through email, right? Fine. Thank you so much. Any more questions? Do you have any more questions? Any other questions for me? If you have one, kindly ask me. Don't hesitate in asking questions. Yes, sure, I'm going to do it. No, see, yes, you have class with me tomorrow. See, I can teach you this chapter also. I don't mind it. Okay? Yes, sure, I'm going to do it. Do you have any other questions for me? Do you have any other questions? Anyone out there? Abdul, you have to study it from book, and whatever I am teaching, you have to study this as well. That is the only concern. Okay? This is the general thing, and specific specialization you're going to find in the book. Is it clear? Any more questions for me? Yeah, thank you so much. See you tomorrow, and don't forget to fill the feedback form. Just put genuine comments there.